Hi, and welcome to another episode of Beyond Sunday. I'm Brandon Walters with Reverend James King. How you doing, James?
I'm doing very well. How
Good to
about
see
yourself?
you. I'm good. Good to see you
Good.
again. Today, I want to talk about self-mastery, because you hear a lot about it,
Right.
but I want to get your definition of it. What do you describe self-mastery as?
Well, basically, it's having dominion in your life, having dominion over the various aspects of your life so that you can develop all of your potential that you have. So mastery is an amazing blessing as you move toward it. In the beginning, it's tough, but the main focus of mastery is over your thoughts, okay? Your thoughts, because your thoughts are the root of all your blessings and all of your challenges. And so if you can gain dominion over your thoughts, then you will live a prosperous, happy, and successful life and find some enlightenment while you're in this physical body.
When you say dominion, that sounds a little bit like control.
Okay?
And,
Okay.
from what we've been trying to learn is less control, more surrender.
Right.
And it sounds a little contradictory.
Okay. Well, if you look at Webster's dictionary, you've got dominion right there, and you've got domination and over here. I kind of see it. Dominion is more the idea of mastery. Domination is more the idea of control. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, but they're close in definition, but they're not really the same thing, in my opinion.
So you're saying we need to get some mastery
Yes.
over starting here.
Right.
Thoughts. All right. So what's the best way to do that? Give us
Okay.
some thoughts on how, because that's easier said than done, obviously,
Okay.
because we're bombarded constantly.
Right.
You wake up in the morning, oh, it's a great day, and then something pops in your head, oh, I got
Okay.
that. And
Yeah.
that stomach feel, that knotted stomach.
Sure.
And so how do we switch that right away?
Okay. Romans chapter 10, verse 9.
I don't remember it, I'm sorry.
It says, if you will confess with your mouth Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God has raised him from the dead, Brandon will be saved.
Okay, you're going to have to elaborate. That
Now-
doesn't sound like it has anything to do with my thoughts. I'm sorry.
I know. Well, here's the key. Jesus fulfilled his divine potential. Okay? He fully expressed his Christhood. And so if we believe that Jesus is Lord, what we're actually saying, the word Lord is the Greek word kurios, and it means to be a master of something. It means mastery. Another scripture says that Jesus is Lord of heaven and earth. And that idea is to be Lord of heaven is to be Lord of the higher things and the physical or the lower things. And so Jesus was master over his mind, his spirit, his emotions, and his physical body and his situation. And so that is the goal. That is what we want to achieve. The second part of Romans 10:9 says, if you believe in your heart that God has raised him from the dead, that whole idea is that death in the scriptures speaks of a sleeping consciousness. I don't know if you've read the story or heard the story, but Lazarus, when Jesus went to see Lazarus, they said, well, he's dead. No, and Jesus said, no, he's sleeping. And the idea that he was putting forth is that he was in another consciousness, a lower consciousness. And so if you believe that Jesus was raised from this lower consciousness into a higher consciousness, to a resurrected state, which is a higher state of being, then you also will be saved. And the word saved there in the Greek literally means to be whole and well, to be healed, okay? And so if you want to heal your consciousness, raise your consciousness. You believe that Jesus had this divine potential and that he fulfilled it, and he was setting the example. And so if you follow his teachings, where he says, take no thought about what you would eat or what you would drink or the clothes that you wear. In other words, he's saying, don't get caught up in the physical world and thoughts about those kinds of things. This is the effects world, okay? The true world is on the inside, which is the causal world. And when we can move on the inside and work with the energies inside of us, then the outside world has to line up with whatever's going on inside of us. Make sense?
It does. But the scripture you quoted says, if you believe that he was raised.
Right.
And it feels like there's an outside force there. Like, how do I get raised?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, he was raised in his consciousness. That's the whole point of the New Testament, is that Jesus walked in this higher consciousness. And he was able to defeat, in fact, you can talk about the devil. Okay, the word devil, a lot of people believe in a literal physical devil. And so what I like to tell people is you need to cast it out. Okay? Because the word devil means divider. It is a divided consciousness. It's somebody who is so caught up in this physical world and so caught up in the effects world that they're double-minded. And when you're double-minded, you're unstable in everything that you do. And so you have to cast out that duality consciousness out of your mind and begin to move it toward a single focus. Because in unity we teach there is only one power and one presence in my life, the Spirit of goodness, the all-loving goodness of God. And so if there's only this divine power, there can't be anything else. Right?
It's either you allow it or disallow it.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's not the dark switch, it's the absence of light.
Right.
I got you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's of course, again, easier said than done to flip that switch, to go from that dual personality, dual consciousness, from ego to this enlightened thing, especially when food and drink and things are so important and every day.
Right.
So
right.
what are some ways we can lift our consciousness, raise our consciousness?
That has to do with learning to observe your thoughts at all times, to watch your thoughts, to watch the direction that your thoughts are going in, because feeling or emotion follows thought. And so if you want to feel good, you want to make sure that your thoughts don't wander off into a negative place. You want to make sure that your thoughts are continually move forward in a positive place. I was watching a YouTube video the other day with Jerry Seinfeld, and he said that recently, in the last couple of years, he's learned to meditate.
Really?
And he was saying that it has totally changed his life, and that if he had the ability to meditate when he was doing the show, he said he would have done several more years of it.
Oh, really?
But because he had no way to get calm, no way to get still, and because of that, he would work with the actors all day, and then him and Larry David would go and write the show,
Right.
Right. And then they would act it out. So he was constantly working, 16 hours a day, and your body can only take that for so long. And so the idea is to observe your thoughts and then spend some moments every day in the stillness. And what the stillness is the ocean of consciousness that is inside of us that is always calm. There's a place inside of you, inside of me, inside of everybody that's always calm, that's always still. It's the mind that is on the edges of consciousness, and so it's jumping around, jumping from here to there. The waves are rolling and storms are brewing, but underneath there's a calm spot. So by spending a few minutes in the morning, a few minutes in the evening, and even in the middle of the day, just stop and take a breath and breathe it out, and then allow your mind to get still and to move back into that calm, that ocean of consciousness.
Because it's interesting when I find a lot of people, and I know I was guilty, I'm getting better at it, however, noticing when you shift to negative, because sometimes you just don't even notice, and it's 30 minutes later, and you've been on a roll.
Yeah.
I mean, some horrible stuff going on for a
goodness.
while. You go, oh my
Yes.
gosh, how long has this been going on? So that's awareness would be the first part of it.
Right.
But then shifting from that, because you gain some momentum in the negativity.
Right.
Shifting from that, it's not that easy sometimes.
Yeah. Well, the key is to catch yourself. And the first time, you may not catch yourself. The second time, you may not. But if you keep working at it and start to catch yourself, if you're 15 minutes into it and you say, oh, wait a minute, then you catch yourself, and then you shift the energy by shifting your thoughts from a negative to a positive, or at least to something neutral, shifting your attention somewhere else. And I do this a lot with people when they start complaining or talking about, their lives and how hard it is or bad it is or whatever. I just subtly shift their attention, and I say, well, tell me something you're grateful for in your life. And that, I'm grateful for my grandkids. I'm grateful for this, You
can do both of those at the same
That's
time.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. And that's the key, is to constantly learn little techniques that work for you on how to shift your attention, how to shift your focus.
Well, I found recently, starting to really get some of the stuff implemented in my life, and a good part of it for me, it was faith.
Yes.
Faith that, and knowing that, something happened to me recently, and it was, most people consider, oh, that's a bad thing, and it didn't hit me as bad, it didn't strike me as bad.
Sure.
It was more of, I was able to easily get in that space of, okay, if the universe is always working for me,
Right.
so what's this about?
Yeah.
Where are we going here? It was more, and once that happened, it was way better than not happening.
That's great.
The end result was, way better.
That's exactly what needed to happen.
Yeah, and it was fine. And if I guess if you can, because you can never know exactly how it's being worked out for you. It's so the logistics alone.
Yeah.
Who's got to meet who's got to be timing.
Right.
But if you can just relax into it and go, okay, that was for me. Now let's figure out why, and let's see what shows up for why.
Yeah.
But I think faith is the key there. So you got to know that. You have to really know it and believe it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how would you say the best way to grab hold of some of that faith, to really implement faith?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Did I stump you? Do we need to take a break?
Well, I can talk about it if you want.
Okay, go ahead.
The spiritual FedEx and the spiritual UPS is getting you packages every day.
We don't want to choose one or the other. We don't. Yeah.
Exactly.
I got you.
Yeah, where we want to be balanced.
Fair.
And so you're getting these packages, life situations, circumstances, people showing up. All of these things are for our good. Now, sometimes they come in a brown paper sack, and sometimes they come in a brown box.
With bomb on the side.
Yeah,
or
well.
something. That's how it feels sometimes.
Yeah, and so we're not sure what it is, but if we're in a negative frame of mind, we will look at it and say, oh, man, that's probably, X, Y, Z, that's probably...
Bad news.
Bad news, and I'm going to have to face, And instead of doing that, we just say, well, I don't know what it is. I'm open to whatever the universe brings to me today.
Whatever it is, it's a good thing.
Yes.
It's going to be good.
Absolutely. It's going to work for your highest good.
Yeah.
Even though it may be something that at first looks bad. It's like there was this town, this little village, and they were getting ready to go to war. And so everybody, was sending out their oldest children to go to war. And one of the boys broke his leg and was not able to go. And he was so disappointed. His family was disappointed. But here's the thing. Most of the ones that went to war did not come back. And so it actually turned out to be a good thing. And he ended up becoming the mayor of the town and being, a really wonderful presence, important person in this town. And so that's why we should never prejudge something before we unwrap it and see what, even when we see what it is, we say, okay, all right, this is the hand I've been dealt, these are the cards I have, so I'll play this hand. I'll play this hand and see where I go.
I know Steve Jobs said, one of his quotes was, you can't see how the dots connect until you look back on it. You can't tell when you're in the middle of it.
Exactly.
When you look back, you go, of course,
Right.
It was all perfect, yeah.
Yeah, and that's, that's the beauty of looking back at things. I think it's good to do that from time to time and say, wow, look at how that worked to this point. Look what brought me to this place. Because I can look at things in my life, 25, 30 years ago, I was going through a hard time.
You were like 16?
Yes. No, I was 5. I was a little younger. Anyway, I can look back at that now, and the things that I was going through then, the lessons I was learning, have to do with my life now. See, if I hadn't have gone through that, I wouldn't be here talking about this. See, I would not be at the place that I am now. And so whatever we look at that's a hardship, even that is for our highest good.
Well, let me ask you this. If you see it as a hardship,
Yeah,
and you kind of wallow in it as a hardship,
right. Yeah.
does it still hold that good for you, or is there an energy shift there? Or?
Well, Jesus would say to people, he said, be it unto you according to your faith. Okay? So there were 10 lepers that were healed, but only one of them came back. And that one that came back, Jesus said, according to your faith, you are healed. Well, I don't know if he was saying that maybe the rest of them didn't keep their healing because they didn't, because it was all a parable.
Yeah.
If they didn't, they weren't grateful. They didn't enter the high vibration of gratitude. When you enter the high vibration of gratitude, you're putting the bow around, the gifts of life that you're getting, and with the cherry on the top, if you want to do it that
The bow and the cherry.
The bow and the cherry,
It's
exactly.
a gift with a sundae. It's very
Yeah,
nice. Very nice.
yeah.
So, all right, so we're going to wrap it up here. So,
Okay.
Speaking of wrapping up, let's wrap this into
Okay.
a nice little pretty package. If you had one thing to kind of sum it all up,
Yeah.
a little daily, here's something you
Okay.
can think about every day.
Yeah.
Hit me.
Okay.
About self-mastery.
Yes. Pay attention to where your mind goes throughout the day. Pay attention to how you feel. Pay attention. The more attention that you give it, the more conscious you are. The more conscious you are, the more that you will be able to develop self-mastery, which is what we all want to do. So be conscious of your thinking, be conscious of your actions, your feelings, be conscious of what's going on, and always look for the light. Always look for something good. Try to describe things in a positive way and put a positive spin on everything.
And know that it's
Know it.
all good.
And know.
Know it. And you know her.
Know.
And you know her.
That's right. And you know where that is, right?
And you're ow. What's this? What's
Yes.
that called? Yes.
You got to know it
Yeah.
in your know on the inside. And once you know it in there, it's like,
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
there you go.
All right. Well, thanks, James. You got your next day and week cut out for you right now. You know what to do. So, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Beyond Sunday.